All right, welcome, ladies and gentlemen. It is Monday, August 3rd, 2020. This is our August Aquarius full Sturgeon moon master class, and we're calling it Employ the Sacred Genius in You, embracing your natural talents to create a thriving life through service you love. And I wanted to share a little bit about the astrology. One of the great things about kind of following the moon is it gets you into a very natural rhythm of doing your personal work, your transformation work, your inner wisdom work and responsibility. And there's brilliant themes every month. And so it kind of lays out this map to follow, and there's a certain brilliance to it that I'm discovering that I really love. So I want to share the energy of the moon that we're under tonight and how we can, really use it, really suck this energy up and use it in our exploration around the inner genius, the genius within. So yes. The Sturgeon full moon, and it's interesting. My last name is Spurgeon, and people often call me Wendy Sturgeon. And when I was a kid, it used to really make me mad. And I'm like, I'm not an ugly fish. Seriously, I would say, I'm not an ugly fish. Don't call me Sturgeon, right? And now I'm like, I'm understanding the gifts and the benefits of the sturgeon. So I want to share a little bit about that. And, a lot of people who study astrology feel that this is appropriate, as the symbol for Aquarius is the water bearer, symbolically providing life and spiritual food to the world. And the water from the vessel of Aquarius washes away the past, providing room for fresh starts. The sign of Aquarius is forward-looking and growth-oriented. So following the challenging last several months we've had, the sturgeon fish is swimming into our lives to prove we are stronger than we realize. The sturgeon is a tough fish that can live up to 140 years. Offering hope we will make it through the remaining months of the year. The Sturgeon moon should encourage those experiencing tough times in their lives, and August's full moon relates to survival. So using the energy of the Sturgeon moon, we can better connect with each other and search for others who share our interests, which is kind of what we're doing. So good to lean into the qualities of the sturgeon with his, with her toughness and her resilience. That yes, we will not only survive, we will thrive. But we are in this time of change, of great change. So I wanted to share. This full moon features the Leo-Aquarius axis with themes of expressing yourself in the context of the larger community, says intuitive astrologer and healer Rachel Lang. It emphasizes following your heart, which is the Leo, and letting your passion run through your veins, circulating momentum for innovative ideas or making a contribution to the world. So that's where the Aquarius comes in.
Aww.
Aquarius is inventive, and the full moon in this sign encourages us to think way outside of the box to solve any issues that come up in our lives. And she says Aquarius is also the sign of community and friendships. You could discover ways to become more involved. So what we're doing here tonight is very timely. It's right on time. And then just a little bit more about Aquarius I wanted to share with you before we move into the content of our class tonight. And this is This is from Ron Thurlow, PhD, esoteric astrologer. He says, as we know, the opposites of Leo and Aquarius are associated with our basic identity as an individual in Leo. Leo is like, look at me, you know, Leo's always like center stage. I'm grabbing the mic. I'm the star, right? So it kind of goes from our basic identity as an individual in Leo and as part of a greater community in Aquarius. So it's about this interplay between these two identities, that we evolve from self-centered and selfish to group-centered and altruistic. So doesn't that kind of sound like exactly what is happening on our planet now? We're being called to upgrade. Do you want to
hear something funny?
Sure.
The Leo is my rising sign and Aquarius is my descending sign.
Oh, well, that's kind of perfect, isn't it? Yeah.
Isn't that wild?
Just on time.
That is wild.
So this process takes place through the gradual surrender of the personality's desires to the ever more insistent presence of the soul. So it is, the divine is really pouring down on us. And I love that center image there. So we've got Aquarius, the water bearer with the urn on top. Then we've got the hands, and the energy of the moon is flowing down into the water. And then the sturgeon is kind of swimming through that. So, okay. And there's a couple more pieces here because I want to make sure we have time for all the great stuff we have coming up. Okay. The hallmark of Aquarius and the incoming Aquarian age is the advancement of humanitarian values. What are these humanitarian values? They are the altruistic principles that exist at the heart of every human being. The word humanitarian is derived from the essence of what it is to be a human. It is the promise to be the best we can be and acting from the angels of our better nature. Humanitarians are motivated to live and communicate the ideals of goodwill, harmlessness, compassion, and love for all beings. Aquarius is an air sign. He's esoteric here. So, you know, take this however you want to take this. I think it's interesting. Aquarius is an air sign. This suggests that in the new age, communication will take place in the ethers and through telepathic rapport. Cyberspace, an Aquarian age phenomenon, is a material world manifestation of telepathic rapport with our thoughts, video, music, and pictures flying through space at the speed of light. During the next 2,000 years, humans will develop more sensitivity to finer and finer vibrations. We will have less need for iPhones and internet devices because our mental bodies will be the instruments. Both the heart and mind will become more conscious receivers and transmitters of vibrations that create and sustain group life. The manifest goal of the coming age will be service to the whole of humanity and service to the living beings which inhabit our planet. As we enter the age of Aquarius, humanity must create a peaceful world in which we honor and serve the balance of our natural environment and the ecosystems in which we live. In her book, The Externalization of the Hierarchy, Alice A. Bailey wrote, "The growth of telepathic rapport will bring in an era of universality and synthesis with its qualities of recognized relationships and responsiveness. This will be, outstandingly, the glory of the Aquarian age." The symbol of Aquarius is the water bearer. The water bearer is pictured holding a large urn from which he is pouring freely its water onto both the land and the sea. The key word for Aquarius is water of life am I, poured forth for thirsty men and women. So With that, just context. I wanted to give you some context here. I'm Wendy Spurgeon, and this is The Way of Truth. It's a life coaching community. Shelly is my co-coach and co-hostess in this venture. We're your transformation team. And actually this content tonight has been it's been the inspiration for I have a tagline up there: employ your sacred genius now. It really is about uncovering, owning, and embracing all of your gifts and wisdom and talents and putting them to work on the planet right now when we really need them. So it's pretty exciting to be sharing this content with you tonight. And I wanted to pass the microphone over to Shelly. If you want to tell us a little bit about yourself, Shelly, and then you're going to take us from there.
A little bit about me. I started studying to be a coach in 2017. And then I became a coach, and then I started building my coaching program. And then I got more certified and more certified and more certified. And almost from the very beginning, I've been working with Wendy, which is one of the pleasures in my life. So we do a lot of collaborating together.
Mm-hmm. Yes, we do.
And
really writer too.
And I would just add, before we go further, I just want to say that there are so many magnificent things happening in my life, and it's because I do this stuff every single day. Every day. It's not just once a month or once a week. You guys, if you put in the time, you will make miracles happen. So let's get started. We're going to be learning several key points today about the natural talents that we all possess and how we can go about identifying these talents and knowing when they are in use. So this evening's training will be broken down into several important sections, such as, we'll look at such things as what the term talent actually means and how our talents dramatically impact our daily lives, what gets in the way of us expressing our talents, and what shift in perspective we will need in order to avoid this from happening, how to recognize our talents in action, how we feel and what we experience when our talents are being honored, and then we'll do some foundational work at identifying our unique talents. And there's just a little bit of housekeeping. We're a small group, so be respectful to others. If you've got noise in the background, mute yourself. And when you go to talk, say your name so we know who's talking. And that's about it for those little details. So let's start our training by answering a simple yet very profound question. Now, when I ask you this question, take some time to think about your answer. And if you get stuck, the rule of thumb, not just right now, but any time, if you get stuck, go with your gut. So here is the question. What does a great day look like for you? So when you're answering the question, think about the kinds of activities you'd be doing that would make this a great day. And if you were able to spend the bulk of your day doing these activities, you would feel really happy. Okay, so they're not regular activities that make up your daily routine. They're the things that you like to do that meet the following criteria. You lose track of time while you're doing them. You feel energized while you're doing them. You frequently dream about doing it. Where you find yourself performing beyond your usual ability when you're doing it. Like you just naturally excel at it. Where your enthusiasm is high for a long period of time. Like you don't run out of steam. You could just keep doing it forever. And that you seek out other people who share the same interest. So when you find something like that, you know that you're onto something. So let's take 2 minutes to reflect and write your answer to the question, what does a great day look like for you? You can just use the back of one of your worksheets if you printed those out. And just get in some detail about what a great day looks like for you. Wendy, are you doing the timer
Yep.
or am I?
I got the timer.
Okay. So talented.
All right, we've got about 30 seconds remaining on the clock. And ladies and gentlemen, let's come back.
Okay, so who would be willing to share with us some of the activities that you came up with in your great day? Don't forget to unmute yourself.
That just occurred to me. Thank you, Shelley. Okay, real quick, I have two different types of great days because two of my favorite days are one, being super productive, all the errands get done, the house is working as a team, bills are getting paid, shopping is getting done, and like yard work and everything. I love those days. Those are like my favorite days. But then the other favorite days I have is when I'm with my girls and we're talking about makeup, like the new makeup we bought, swatching each other, or trading, and exercising tips, and I like those days too.
Nice, thank you. Anybody else? Renetta, Michael, Wendy?
This is Wendy.
Yeah, it's
go ahead, Michael. Go ahead.
it was actually hard for me to come up with a great answer of what a great day looks like. The thoughts that came to my mind had to deal with the fact that we're still in this time of COVID, and I feel like I'm living in COVID time rather than my time right now. So it's just hard to look forward to something or consider really asking that question and answering it when I'm not really sure what a great day looks like in terms of this time and in this moment.
Okay. What about you, Renetta? Anything?
You might be on mute, Renetta. Sometimes I'm on mute and I don't realize it, and I'm chattering away and nobody can hear me.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
I tend to just think about non-COVID times and what it's going to look like when we come out from under the restrictions of that, and try to reflect on what I want the world and our life to be like, and hope for. But my best day is on the beach with friends and having a great time, and enjoying fellowship with everybody, relaxing and enjoying the ocean and the waves coming in, and or in a mountain cabin, with nature and the smell of the pines, and the wind blowing through the trees, and the coolness of the weather. All of those are just wonderful days.
That's beautiful. Thank you for sharing. And you know, that's the thing, is that even in the worst of times, there's just little things, like you mentioned, the wind blowing through the trees. I mean, there's still beauty. There's still things to be thankful for, you know? Do you have
Exactly.
anything?
I went up and sat on the porch with a friend in Pinos Altos yesterday, and I'm just recently moved back home from Arizona, where it's probably 122 degrees, and and she lives part-time between Pinos Altos and Phoenix, and we were both laughing that we were running to get our coats, and all of our friends were dying of the heat, and that we felt somewhat guilty because we were enjoying the coolness so much, and it was just really pretty blissful. And the rains came, it poured, and then everything was fresh and clean. The hummingbirds came back, and there were hundreds of them, and it was pretty incredible.
Wow, that sounds great.
Yeah, it was fun.
Wendy, anything to share with us?
Well, I just want to acknowledge the powerful wisdom in our class today, and I would echo what's been shared, and just add that even when people are suffering around us, it in fact maybe even more important than that we seek out to find the blessings, because it's our recognition of the blessings that's going to fuel us to keep moving in service. But if we get into the mindset that that it's not okay for me to have a great day because I don't see anybody else around me having a great day, then we're not part of the solution. We're not being the change that we want to see. So I can feel you, Michael. I can feel you, like, you know, it's hard. It's hard to even think about asking that question. But I would counter that with a powerful truth that we do actually need to stretch ourselves in that way, and to look for what's right, and look for the simple blessings that surround us every single day. And so I thank you all for bringing those examples. And I'll pass it back right over to you, Shelley.
So beautiful. I agree wholeheartedly. A great day for me is inspiring people, because it inspires me. And the beauty, even during COVID, is that I get to do that every single day. It's even more so than I did before because of Zoom. So blessings in disguise all the way around. But obviously, we all find fulfillment in different ways. And even though people find fulfillment in different ways, our individual fulfillment happens only in one way. Fulfillment in our lives, plain and simple, happens when our talents are honored in the activities we're doing. So when our talents are honored in the activities that we're engaged in. So right from the start, I want to give you the most important message of this full moon webinar. And that message is this: expressing your talents in whatever you do is the key to your fulfillment in life. So write that down so you remember it. Expressing your talents in whatever you do is the key to your fulfillment in life. To put it another way, our great days usually involve doing the things we love. And what we love usually involves the expression of our innate talents. We all have something special to offer the world. We all possess something that makes us unique. And that's what is meant by the term, the genius within. If a great day includes doing the things we love, or in other words, is the expression of our talents, let's take some time to make sure we can answer the following question. Wendy, what exactly is a talent?
Well, I'm so glad you asked. To answer this question, I want to first read you a short story. Shelley's a writer. I'm a storyteller. So just take a moment now just to relax, put down your pen and pencil, sit back in your chair, perhaps close your eyes, just, let yourself have a little story time. Ready? Here we go. It's the rabbit story. We want Mr. Bunny Rabbit to be a well-rounded animal. To be well-rounded, he will need to be skilled at running, swimming, and tree climbing. So we decide to measure his performance. First up, running. Now here Mr. Rabbit shines. He ran to the top of the hill and back and scampered all about. When asked how he felt about his performance, Mr. Rabbit said, "He felt great. I can't believe it," he said. "I get to do what I do best." And Mr. Rabbit's boss acknowledges the fact that Mr. Rabbit has a talent for running. Next, Mr. Rabbit's skill at climbing trees is measured. A tree trunk is placed at a 30-degree angle so that he has a chance to succeed. Mr. Rabbit really tries hard, so hard his legs hurt. He makes it a short distance up the trunk. Mr. Rabbit's boss makes note of Mr. Rabbit's failed attempt. "We'll have to work on that piece of your performance," says the boss. Well, the comment discourages Mr. Rabbit. Next, Mr. Rabbit's performance is measured in swimming. Mr. Rabbit approaches the test with a great deal of fear. Oh, he couldn't recall any rabbits ever having to swim. He expresses his concern to his boss. "Wait," he says, "I don't like to swim." Mr. Rabbit's boss responds, "Well, you may not like it now, but in time down the road, you'll come to realize what a good thing it is for you." And with that, Mr. Rabbit's boss throws the tiny bunny into the water. In seconds, the bunny goes down, and the only thing that comes to the surface is a few bubbles. Mr. Rabbit's boss sees this and pulls the soaked bunny out, and the rabbit feels humiliated, but glad that it is over. Mr. Rabbit's boss contemplates the situation for a few moments before coming to a conclusion. "Mr. Rabbit," says the boss, "you're just fine at running, and for that reason, I think you need to spend less time on that skill and more time on the other two." When Mr. Rabbit hears this, he throws up. This story is from a wonderful book called Soar with Your Strengths. It's written by Donald Clifton and Paula Nelson back in 1995. This was a groundbreaking book at a time where the author suggested that if we wanted to achieve our absolute best in life, we need to focus on our talents rather than spending so much time trying to improve our weaknesses. So how does this story relate to real life? Well, given that real life is shifting, I can easily put this story into the context of kind of the old paradigm that we are transitioning out of, and the mindset of we have to squeeze ourselves into somebody else's vision of what we should be. And so, you know, the hope in the story, the bright side is that, you know, by experimenting and, you know, seeing what really feels good, and then testing and, you know, seeing what really doesn't feel good, we can narrow our focus. And I want to open it up for discussion. I hope this story wasn't too depressing or horrifying. I know the bunny thrown in the water could be a little traumatizing. So I just want to check in. Is everybody okay? And do you have any thoughts or comments?
This is Renetta, and actually this story was somewhat relieving because I remember being thrown in the deep end several times and failing, and
Yeah.
you know it scars for life. And I can think back of multiple situations that, you know, have built me, but at
Yeah.
the same time hold me back too.
Yeah. You know, it occurs to me, you know, it's when we aren't allowed to do what we do best because we're told to focus on improving our weaknesses instead. That is, it's a mindset of resistance as opposed to acceptance, right? If it, you know, in our training of one another, right? Whether it's children in our community or our peers or even just the people that we're around. If we're looking at someone and we're judging that they should be something different, it's then we're in resistance to the authentic brilliance of that person in front of us. We're really closed and not able to connect. And I think it comes first with giving ourselves permission to say yes and to say no, and to say, you know, I think I got a knack for this thing over here. So I'm gonna choose to do this. But we're in that, like I said, we're in that kind of that paradigm shift where we have to practice giving ourselves permission to say yes and to say no, and to honor, you know, the clarity of our vision and where we're being called, and trusting that even though it may not look like what we've seen before, right? So many of us grow up with a specific model of what a quote unquote successful life would look like. And our world is just shifting really, really rapidly. So it's like that, it's not even realistic to try to make that happen. We can really beat ourselves up and sabotage ourselves if we try to contort ourselves to fit into someone else's vision of who they think we should be. Really, really time to embrace our own vision and honor that and move with it, with our natural talents. So yeah, and just a couple quick points. Trying to develop a weakness takes a lot of effort, and generally it generates minimal results. So you can work and work and work and work and work, and yeah, you might get a little bit better, but when we focus on our strengths, we can exponentially soar. We can really, you know, and all of us have unique talents that are so desperately needed right now. so anyway, and then the last thing I'll say, all animals possess certain innate talents and skills that help them survive and that make them unique. People are no different. We are all geniuses in our own way. And we may just be completely oblivious to that because we just do it all the time and it's second nature. But you know, some of us are brilliant cooks and teachers and friends, or maybe we're really good at math, or we're musical, or you know, all of those talents are a genius that the world needs. So let's pull out the worksheet. What is your genius?
Wendy, before we do that, this is Michael. I was thinking about the story and the comments. What if the truth behind maybe what the rabbit was feeling and experiencing, you know, going through all these tests, is just a test of being present in that moment, in that time, in that place, and trying to ignore the expectation of the bunny's coach or those external
Mm-hmm.
influencers or impactors. It's about, I feel for me, the truth is, you know, not being able to answer that question about what a great day is like. You know, I'm in that presence of, I can't really answer that right now because that's just where I'm at in my truth, in my life, if that makes sense.
Absolutely. Yep. Yep. And that's, yeah,
I
go ahead, Shelley.
I was going to say, I love that, Michael, and I'm really glad you brought it up because I feel like part of that story was kind of feeding on our fears rather than being more encouraging, like, well, maybe you're not very good at that, but you never know if you could be good at it unless you try. And maybe you would end up liking it. You know what I mean? It's like public speaking. Everyone kind of hides away from it and says they don't like to do it, but it's only a lot of the time because they are afraid to try. And once they learn how and they get some practice, they really like doing it and they end up being really good at it too.
Right,
So,
right. And what was the name of the book that
Yes,
that this story came from?
it's called Soar with Your Strengths. And the authors
Thank you.
are Donald Clifton and Paula Nelson.
Okay, I just needed the title. I think I can find I think I'd recognize the authors if I saw them. So thank you.
Okay. Yay.
thank you. Thank you, Michael. So let's pull out worksheet number 1. And it's got a bunch of blanks, and I'm just going to give a little presentation here and go ahead and fill in the blanks as we go. So what is your genius? Albert Einstein once said, everyone's a genius, but if you judge a fish by its ability to climb a tree, it'll live its whole life believing that it's stupid. And so I know that we all have something like that, hiding, lurking in the shadows. We're all capable of doing one thing better than any other person alive. Wow, that's a bold statement. Do you really think that statement is true, that you are unique and that you have something unique to offer the world? Do you really believe that you can do one thing better than anyone else? Whether you believe it or not, it's true. We often spend much of our lives judging ourselves by the wrong measures of success, such as money or job title, or even comparing ourselves to other people that are doing the same thing. But aiming for these things will not give you the gratification that comes from doing work that fits with and expresses who you really are. If you spend your life trying to be good at everything, you'll probably be great at nothing.
Kelly,
Yes.
can you go back? I got gratification, but then you were going so fast I couldn't write everything down.
Oh, I'm sorry. Let's see.
So it was gratification that comes from doing work that.
Gratification that comes from doing work that fits with and expresses who you really are. So if you spend your life trying to be good at everything, you'll probably be great at nothing. That's why they say jack of all trades, master of none. So asking yourself, what is my genius, is an important question that we all need to ask and answer. And so what makes it difficult? What do you think it is that makes it so difficult for us to believe that we are really geniuses?
Well, I'm going to pick up the microphone. This is Wendy. I think we did some work about this just a little while ago about reclaiming your light. Like right around summer solstice, we were doing some vision board parties, and I did a session on reclaiming your light. And when we are children, we naturally shine in our light, in our genius, in our talents. And you know, the grown-ups think it's cute for a while, but then when you hit a certain, I don't know what it is, a height or a volume level or something, you start to hear, don't be too big for your britches, or don't be cocky and conceited. We start to hear the messages from our family and our school and our teachers that tell us we need to hide our light. And the word genius, it has a big charge to it. We think of people like Einstein, and we think of, you know, musical geniuses or child prodigies, and we're trying to compare ourselves to them, but we're a different kind of genius. That they are a very unique genius, but so are we, and they could never be us as brilliantly as we are us uniquely. That's my theory on it, is that it's societal programming that we've been picking up since a very, very young age, that causes us to have some resistance to believing that we really are geniuses. I'd love to hear what other people think.
I think that's really true. I think that they don't do it on purpose. We're living with generation after generation of not believing in ourselves, and people have for so long not dared to step into their greatness because of it, that it's just a continuing cycle that we keep going through. What about the rest of you? What do you guys think about it? Anyone?
Remember,
I was going to say, this is Michael. I was just thinking, is trying to figure out what that means to me, and it's almost like someone else's strengths might, you know, enhance one of my weaknesses. So in an area that I'm less familiar with or is somewhat unknown, and they are stronger in a particular area, then the two of us might complement each other, as I'm being taught something that is strengthening my weakness.
I like that. And you know, the flip side of that coin is that as you are being taught something, you are also teaching, which is what I find every time you, particularly Michael, show up to one of these webinars is that I always end up learning from you. So that's maybe a hidden part of your genius that you might not be aware of.
Nope, not aware of it.
And that's why we need community. We need community to reflect back to
Exactly, yeah.
us that we can't see. Yes.
Yeah, you really have a absolutely amazing ability to see a different perspective. It is quite clear.
And we all benefit.
Thank you, Melanie.
We all benefit from your perspective.
Yes, definitely. So we do compare ourselves to others a lot, and that makes us feel like we fall short. And it's especially silly when we're just starting out with something. I started in April learning how to play the guitar. And, if I were going to compare myself with Pink Floyd, which is, one of the songs I'm trying to learn, I would burn that sucker because, there's no way I can compare with that. So, yeah, that's one of our downfalls. And we don't know what our talents are all the time. So we look at ourselves as if we are nothing special. Most of us don't see ourselves as geniuses because we've never really given much thought to what our talents are. And at the same time, we let a lot of things get in the way of us expressing our talents. So it's important for us to identify those barriers that can get in the way of us expressing our talents so that we can remove them. So if you would pull out worksheet number 2, which is titled, What Gets in the Way of Us Expressing Our Talents? And so we're going to take 2 minutes to brainstorm and write down what you believe are some of the biggest barriers that get in the way of expressing your talents. So 2 minutes.
Right.
You got the timer, Wendy?
Yep, 2 minutes. Ready, set, go. All right, we got about 20 seconds left. You could always add more to this if you want to later. All right, and let's come on back.
So who would like to share some of those responses?
Okay, well, it's Melanie. I have a distinctive voice. I can't imagine if anybody. And I think everybody feels this way. I've read several articles relating to it, but it does feel so true that you do worry that even though you know in your heart that you're really good at something, you worry, what if I'm not? You know, what if I'm not as good at it as I think that I am? I'm affected by that. You know, because you feel pretty confident, and then all of a sudden something weird pops up. And you're like, I thought I was good at it.
Yeah, that's another one of those things where we are expecting perfection from ourselves,
Yeah.
shooting ourselves in the foot right from the beginning.
And then the other one that I only had two, but like my girlfriend who's an accountant during tax season. So you worry that you become overburdened with like the, SOS calls and parentheses, if there's something that you're really good at, then it can happen, everyone's like, oh, well, she's really good at it, so let's just have her do it,
Oh, that's a good one. That one didn't even come to mind. That is.
Yeah, I worry for my friend every tax season. She does my taxes too. So,
How about you, Michael or Renetta?
Yeah, this is Michael. I think for me, um, I wrote down four, but I'll share two that really stuck out to me. Not being sure when and how to speak up in terms of what my needs and expectations are of others when I'm working with a group of people, and um, losing the ability to be free in the sense that I am, presenting my real and authentic self rather than having to wear a persona that's not technically the real person that I am. So it's like I have to hide my authenticity sometimes.
Right? I think, yeah, that's definitely feels like a common thread, probably. What about you, Renetta?
Well, just to add to your comment, Michael, I think that goes back to society's expectations. And Wendy, I think you touched on that very eloquently. Society puts a lot of fear-based thoughts into our brains and our heads that we grow up with as ground rules, that when you're taught these rules and that's all you try to live by them because you want to do well. But it does go back to what Michael just expressed. It sometimes minimizes us as people because it's oftentimes not who we are, and there becomes this fear-based thought process that you're sometimes afraid to be the giddy silly girl that loved to ride horses instead of dance ballet, or I mean, it kind of just comes to what society expects us to be as human beings, and oftentimes we don't always fit that mold.
Right. I mean, that mold is ridiculous. I wish we wouldn't have known then what we know now, which is why the heck would we want to fit into that mold to begin with,
Right, exactly. I mean, I know that our parents and our generations of parents and grandparents have to teach us right from wrong, and ways to function and be a part of society, but at the same time, not diminish us as human beings, and again, be that authentic person and have confidence in being that authentic person. You know, I think a lot of times what ends up happening is the fear of failure, and creates lack of confidence, and the timing and comparison to others, all of that just kind of comes into play. It's crazy how it builds on itself. And then we wonder why we don't want to get up and speak in front of a group of people.
Right? I noticed on my list that I actually filled out all 7 of those little dots, and many of them began with fear of something.
Yes.
Because yeah, that's just what holds us back so much. And then another one that came to me is that if fear of change, but like if we start stepping into this new version of ourselves, that we're not going to know who we are anymore. So it's kind of like a fear of losing our identity, maybe. And another one was dwelling on the past and just remembering, oh, I tried something new once and it turned out terrible, so I'm never going to do that again. So those were some of the kind of things that came up on my list. What about you, Wendy?
I got 3. Limiting beliefs, and the quote, who am I to be gorgeous, talented, brilliant, fabulous, from that quote from Return to Love, Marianne Williamson. It's, you know, our greatest fear is not that we're inadequate. Our greatest fear is that we're powerful beyond measure. It is our light, not our darkness, that most frightens us. So those limiting beliefs, who am I to shine, right? And then fear of other people's judgments and jealousy. I think that's a huge fear, that if we step outside of the box that we feel we've been put inside, that someone might make fun of us. Someone might point their finger and laugh.
Right.
Someone might try to intimidate us because they're jealous. And comparing ourselves against others unfairly, and that was mentioned earlier by someone else. And our culture teaches us to do that too, to compare ourselves to the model on the front of the magazine and find ourselves, you know, inadequate in comparison to. So, oh my God, I don't want to have my picture taken because I won't look like her, right? It's a skewed standard. It's not realistic. When each one of us just has so much beauty and light inside of us. So those were the 3 I got, and I love what everybody else shared. Susan Jeffers, she was a self-help expert. She once said, "We have been taught to believe that negative equals realistic and positive equals unrealistic. Unfortunately, we have grown up in a culture that focuses on what people are doing wrong rather than doing right." Recent research from the Gallup organization revealed that if a student came home with a report card that showed an A in one class and an F in another, that 77% of parents focus on the F grade first. 7% focus on the A first. Now, this isn't to say that parents should ignore the F, but why not start with a positive focus on the A before working on strategies for improving the F? Society has us focus on the negative instead of the positive. For example, think back to a performance review you once received on the job. Didn't it feel like your weaknesses were being highlighted more than your strengths? The truth is that your weaknesses will only marginally improve, as was illustrated in the rabbit story earlier. That improvement will require a great deal of effort. But when it comes to your talents, we can experience exponential growth and improvement. Sure, developing our talents still takes effort, but it doesn't feel like effort. And that's because when we are doing what we love to do, when we are using our talents, the results come more easily and naturally. The reality is that a person who has always struggled with numbers is unlikely to be a great accountant or statistician. And the person without natural empathy will struggle when dealing with an agitated customer or distressed hospital patient. Each of us has the greatest potential for success when we express and use our talents. We experience fulfillment not by trying to strengthen our weaknesses, but instead by expressing and improving upon our talents. So now that you have a better sense of how important it is to focus on expressing your talents, it's time to identify what your talents are. And there's a very simple indicator to tell you when your unique talents are being used. And we're going to look at that indicator next. But before we begin that last segment, I have a special offer I'd like to share with you.
Hey, Wendy,
Yes, Michael?
could you go back to that second quote that you had? I mean, I know that this is being recorded, but I wanted to, because I missed that second quote.
From Susan Jeffers?
Yeah, yeah. Did you share two by heart?
Nope.
Okay, the
It's
one.
right on the
So
slide.
that one I have. That one I have, and then.
And then there wasn't another quote. Oh, I was rattling on Marianne Williamson just by heart. I'll send that to you.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, it's a great quote. I'll send that to you, Michael. And anyone else who wants it.
I have it hanging on my wall.
Yeah.
So I apologize. I'm here in this moment, but there's just, I'll be honest, I'm just distracted at the moment. So I apologize to all of you, but I'm trying to get through this. So.
Oh, well, thank you for your transparency. Yes. Just go ahead and let yourself float and take in what you need to take in, and don't worry about what's not sticking. Just your presence magnifies our learning experience. We appreciate you, Michael. So I'm going to share, this is a very exciting opportunity. I haven't taken a group through a training program in quite a while. Infinite Possibilities, the Art of Changing Your Life. It is a revolutionary program that teaches you how to have an amazing life by understanding the power of your own thoughts, beliefs, and actions. And it's based on the world-renowned New York Times bestselling book, Infinite Possibilities, The Art of Living Your Dreams by Mike Dooley. He does the notes for the notes from the universe, if you get those. And this training will help empower you to create the highest degree of happiness and success in your life. There's 7 main sections. I'm just going to touch on them briefly. Thoughts become things. In this class, we're going to be learning to create new thoughts, to establish a new reality and deal with negative thoughts. And we'll be learning how to shift your mindset into a positive direction. And then, we're going to have a class on beliefs and learn the ways in which your beliefs shape your thoughts and therefore your life, and techniques for changing your negative beliefs by changing your thoughts, words, and actions, and how to establish and maintain new and empowering thoughts. We're going to have a class on emotions. Our emotions are the product of our beliefs and perceptions. We're going to learn where they come from, how they fit in with our thoughts and actions, and we're going to learn some tools for shifting perspective, for reinterpreting and creating more positive emotions in your everyday. Action, very important class there. We're going to learn why it's not necessary to know how your dreams will come true, and work on creating action plans and following them, because that's what creates possibilities. Then we've got instincts, hunches, dreams, and desires. Understand how to check in with your instincts and hunches, knowing that your dreams and desires, and how to move toward them, and techniques for tuning in to your inner senses and knowing. Faith and the magical universe. We're going to be working that faith muscle. Learn how to live deliberately, even among uncertainties, which is very, very good right now to be practicing that. Tapping into your faith to create your amazing life more quickly. So we all could use an infusion of faith right now, Michael. I think you'd agree. And we're going to look at the meaning of life, what life really means, how to find the joy and adventure in it all right now, even in COVID. Because success boils down to vision, beliefs, and action. So this program is designed to open you up to understanding just how powerful you are, so that it aligns with our training today beautifully about the genius within you. This online course is broken down and taught in a variety of formats to complement a variety of learning styles. I have been a certified trainer since 2017. I trained directly under Mike Dooley. And as Infinite Possibilities trainers, we believe that everyone is special, that every life is meaningful, and that we're all here to make a difference and to learn that dreams do come true. And we've also believed that thoughts become things, and that imagination and intention are the gifts that bring love, health, abundance, and joy into our lives. Everyone who goes through this program will come away with an understanding of how to identify your limiting beliefs so that you can move past barriers and attract more of what you want in your life. More love, more health, money, you name it. Priceless tools and resources for destroying negativity and create happiness now, having better relationships and connection in all areas of your life. And a sense of trust that everything you desire is within your reach, knowledge of how to attain it so that you can live more freely immediately and find the pleasure and joy in every moment. So there's a breakdown of what is entailed in your group training. This is a beta group. I haven't taken a group through this before. It is 8 weeks. It's starting, there's options. You can start on Saturday or the following Wednesday, or you could do a combination of both, depending on your schedule, or just do the replays at like online course style. You'd miss out on the live classes, but that is another way that you could partake in the material on your own time frame. So the beta group pricing, and the reason I'm calling this a trailblazer group is because I haven't taken anybody through it yet. When I deliver this program to 6 people over no less than 6 hours, I become a trailblazer in the Infinite Possibilities community. So our beta group pricing for this 2 months is $100. And I don't want that to stop anyone, because times are tough, money's tight for folks. So when you go to the sales page, you'll see that you have an option to pay what you can. So I'm going to encourage you, if this is calling to you, don't let money be the reason why you don't take advantage of it. Because I need 6 people, and I think I have 2 for sure, maybe 3. You could really help me out, but I would need, we need to get started Saturday or the following Wednesday if you want to do that group. So for more information, you can see the link at the bottom there. You go to thewavetruth.live/trailblazer, and then you could go to the sales page from there and pay what you can, and we can work out a payment plan for the remainder. But I would love to work with any and all of you, because it's going to be a great, great program. So thank you so much. And
Wendy, this is Michael. I want to say that I am interested in that. I'm just not sure it's something that I could do like right now.
So Michael,
But if
so
it's
we don't,
offered,
yeah.
if it's offered in the future, definitely, that sounds something like
Yeah,
that I'd
Michael?
be interested in
Great.
doing.
So if you want to get more information, you can just go to that link and you and I can have a conversation about that at another time. Because I want to make sure that we can get through the rest of this training and be in integrity.
No, I know that.
Okay. You bet.
I just wanted to share that. Sorry.
Thanks. All right, I'm going to pass it over to you, Shelley.
Thank you very much. So, Debbie Fields, founder and current spokesperson of Mrs. Fields Cookies and the author of several cookbooks, once said, "What I wanted was to be allowed to do the thing in the world that I did best, which I believed then and believe now is the greatest privilege there is. When I did this, success found me." So discovering your talents is critical to your success. As not as maybe society defines success with your money and your status in life, but with your fulfillment in your heart where the true success is. How can you recognize your talents and know when you are using them? Let's do a simple activity to illustrate this point. Please pull out the worksheet that says dominant, non-dominant hand. That was sent to you earlier. Worksheet number 3, I think. And you're going to use your dominant hand, the one you normally write with, and write your name 5 times in a row. And then when you're done, you're going to use your non-dominant hand and write your name 5 times in a row. So go ahead and do that right now. How's that going? Everyone finished?
Oh God, no.
I know, writing with that non-dominant hand, it always cracks me up.
Yeah, almost.
I feel like I'm back in kindergarten trying to write my name for the first time.
And you know what's funny is that it translates. If you ever try to like brush your teeth with your other hand or any of these simple things that we do every day. So whenever you finish, just let's take a minute and share how that is going for you. Well, Michael, I think you already shared that with us.
Yeah.
I got a couple of them you can actually read.
Well, for the non-dominant hand, this is Michael. I kind of felt like I consistently improved with the non-dominant hand. So, but wow, what a difference! What a feeling!
Yeah.
I noticed.
It goes really well, but I broke my hand when I was a kid, my dominant hand. So I had to write with my non-dominant hand, and because military schools don't care, you just push through regardless. So I got really good at using it. So,
Oh, that's good. Good for you.
fun fact, I don't know.
So our talents are like the hand that we usually use to write. They help us to do a task in an efficient way and with acceptable and often extraordinary results. We don't have to think or concentrate nearly as much when using our talents because it feels like they're almost second nature to us. And our talents help us produce consistently higher quality results from the effort we expend. And we know what results we can expect from that effort. So when we're successfully doing an activity, we feel a sense of strength. A primary way to identify your talents is to focus on how you feel when doing a particular activity. Specifically, if you feel good, if you feel a sense of strength, you can be sure that you are using your talents. So you'll either feel good and confident from doing an activity, or you'll feel less confident, less assured. Going forward, pay attention to how various activities make you feel. If you feel strength, know that there's a talent in use, and stop in that moment to identify what the talent is. And now back to you, Wendy.
Thank you, Shelley. Yes, it's we have a dominant hand for a reason. That's our talent. Our talent comes through that dominant hand. And yes, it's, but thank goodness we have that non-dominant hand as a backup. But always go with the strength, It's our responsibility to find out what our true talents are and express them. When our talents are being used, we feel strong. And I have a tool you can use to help you identify your possible talents. So let's explore that now. So as I said, when we're using our talents, we feel strong. In those moments, it's like we possess hidden reserves of strength we didn't even know we had. So working backwards from a place of feeling strong, let's see what talents we can identify in the activities we love to do. So let's pull out worksheet number 4, testing for talents. With this worksheet, you will identify an activity you do in your life. And this activity must meet the criteria listed on the worksheet. You'll describe what it is you love about this activity. And then next, you'll assess how strong the activity makes you feel. And then you'll identify the possible talents at work in your chosen activity. And I'm gonna give you 3 minutes to complete this worksheet. Ready, set, go. And now I'm going to invite you, if you haven't yet, to turn your worksheet over for the other side of testing for talents. And we'll take another 2 minutes for this. Let's start to wrap up in about 30 seconds. All right, welcome back. And who would like to share about what came up for you in that exercise?
This is Michael, and what came up for me, which really fit the criteria for the testing for talents, is the ministry that I am called into with the Southwest Conference as the lay minister for disability education, advocacy, and awareness, as I work and consult with churches on how to become welcoming, inclusive, supportive, and engaging congregations for mental health and wellness. And I also work and consult with churches in helping their differently abled members and friends find their place in the church.
So I'm guessing you were able to highlight several of the talents that you use in your ministry.
Oh, very much so. I had to even go back and do a second glance over the talents to make sure that I didn't miss anything. And then when I went back over that second glance over on page 2 of worksheet 4, it was like there were so many that I was missing.
It's quite a, we only take 5 minutes in these webinars to work on it, but I want to really encourage you, Michael, to dwell with some of the information that's starting to come up for you, just with this worksheet. I know I'm going to dwell a little bit longer in number 7, Now, ask yourself whether any of the talents you've highlighted above are currently being underutilized right now in your life and therefore making you feel incomplete. Place an X next to these talents and think about what in your life might be keeping you from expressing these talents in the fullest. So I just, that's going to be a really powerful tool, you know, to uncover the ones you put the X by, and figuring out how to develop those talents in your ministry. Probably give you a lot of innovative ideas. So keep working on it, Michael. I'm going to be. It's pretty deep stuff. Who else would like to share what came up for them around this exercise?
Well, I found, like Michael, as I was going through, I was like, it goes back to what we said at the beginning of this workshop about being afraid of what other people would think, and just feeling like, dang, I feel like I'm conceited right now, picking out so many of these talents that I'm using in my day-to-day.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah.
But when you really own it, then you let go. You let go of other people's judgments. We can never control what anybody outside of us thinks about us, and in so many ways, it's not our business. But if we can own that strength, that genius, that talent, and just like, yeah, and stay focused. Use it to fuel your vision and your actions. But that is the trick, isn't it? To let go of that fear or concern about what other people think.
Right.
Renetta or Melanie, did you have any thoughts you wanted to add?
This is Renetta, and I would just say it was a great exercise. I mean, as tough as times are, I think we do tend to forget sometimes the things that we do possess, because we hope that they're still there when all of this is over with.
Yeah, or the challenge is finding innovative ways to share those talents,
Absolutely. Yeah. Which, this Zoom meeting is one of them. How wonderful is this?
Yeah, thanks. We think so. We're going to spread the word.
It kind of minimizes the whole coordination of location, who's going to show up, what are we serving. I mean, it really does just kind of knock through all of those obstacles, and it really is quick, it's easy, and who would have ever thought?
Melanie, did you have anything that you'd like to share or add? She may have to be on mute. So just, some key points. Always remember that your feelings reveal your talents in action. To determine your talents, you must first identify an activity you love to do. Then you determine how strong that activity makes you feel. If you feel strength, you can then identify and name specific talents involved in doing that activity. So let's finalize what we've learned in this webinar about our talents. I'm going to pass the microphone to you, Shelley.
This is one of my favorite things in the whole wide world, eudaimonia. Translated, it's Greek, by the way. Translated, it refers to the idea of giving your best where you have the best to give and reaping the rewards of that excellence. So in other words, to feel like you are flourishing. And isn't that what all of us really want for our lives? And wouldn't that be what we would want to pass on to the next generation as well, as flourishing? So we have one more worksheet, but we are at 8:30. And so I'm going to say, if you would not ignore this worksheet, but it seems a little in-depth, and let's call it homework. Standing by your talents, because the questions are really in-depth, and I know we want to respect people's time, and it's already pushing on to 8:30 right now. But you would answer the 3 questions that are on the worksheet. And then to wrap up today's training, I'd like to just share a few quotes. One by Henry Van Dyke: use what talents you possess. The woods would be very silent if no birds sang except those that sang best. There is nothing worse in this world than wasted talent, which is an anonymous quote. I am always grieved when a man of real talent dies, for the world needs such men more than heaven does. And that is by G.C. Lichtenberg. And so this is what I believe. I believe your talents make each of you unique. Now that you know how unique you are, let tomorrow be different than today. Your talents lie within you, and they really, really want to be expressed. So trust them and take a stand beside them. They truly are the key to your fulfillment. And on that note, from the heart, we love having you here for these webinars. Thank you so much for being here. And I will pass it back to Wendy for just a quick minute more.
Oh, thank you, Shelley. Just wanted to show you this slide one more time. Remember, you can do pay what you can. Remember, you can also just participate virtually through the replays and use this as an online course. So, Michael, that might be something that you and I could discuss if you're interested. But yeah, I just wanted to make sure everybody had the link there. And on Wednesday, August 19th, that'll be our next New Moon Sister Circle in Leo. And our theme will be Fearlessly Me. I allow myself to be seen. So thanks again, everyone. Have a beautiful night under this full Sturgeon Aquarius moon. We appreciate you greatly. Good night, everyone.
Good night. Thank you.
Good night, guys.
Thank you.